I'm Gary McKee and I'm from Cleatormoor in Cumbria. I became a fundraiser in 2003 when my dad had passed away. He was diagnosed with cancer and I wanted to raise funds in his memory. I think initially I wanted to achieve raising a lot of money, but also testing myself and pushing myself to see how I would stand up against challenges. The 365 challenge came out of running 110 marathons the previous year. There was two main objectives. The first one was to run 365 marathons in 365 days. And the second one was to raise £1 million and raise funds for Macmillan Cancer Support and West Cumbria Hospice at Home. I would normally be setting off at 6 o'clock, get the running done, I would come home. I would be going afternoon shift at work, so I would be leaving the house at 1 o'clock and I wouldn't get back home till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Then it was up in early morning again and doing a marathon again. It was always going to be difficult running a marathon every day for a year, and fatigue can grab hold of you, and when you're working at the same time. But there was never ever a moment where I thought I'd bit off more than I could chew. I always thought of the people who I was raising funds for and what they were going through. The support I received was absolutely phenomenal, and it started at home. Our boy, my son, cycled 50 marathons with me. And the support that I also received on the social networking platforms, there was probably over 50,000 people following me, which gives you that little lift. There was a lot of mixed emotions on day 365. When I set off, my Just Giving page was on £535,000. So I still had 24 hours to get the other $500,000, and I was still confident. Word was spread nationally, and as I was running, people were shouting out the total of the Just Giving page, and at 7:20 that night, it went over £1 million. The biggest impact were the smallest donations, because in the hard times that we were going through, it just showed that people were prepared to give what they had, and it was lovely.
I'm Liz Van Linden, and this is my home, my tent, and my bike. So when I was told that I had MS, I didn't really know what to think. I thought my life was perhaps over. In 2022, I was working with the MS Trust to raise some funds for them, and I was cycling along the coast of Great Britain. My driving force for helping the MS community is I don't want one person to be facing MS on their own. So my cycle had to be totally solo and totally unsupported, with everything being taken with me. I started in London and up anti-clockwise along the east coast of England, east coast of Scotland, all the way down the southern part of England, and then right up and around to London. I've made just shy of 10,000 for the MS Trust. It's really though about talking with people, because actually I bump into so many people. And I was just checking my Just Giving page every day, because there would be tons of people donating, but it was also the messages that they were leaving behind. It gave me such a boost. And this year, I'm still currently cycling along the coast of Ireland this time, but for the MS Society. I think when you do a challenge, you push yourself outside of the comfort zone, and you then realise your potential. And it's so much more than what we think we can do.
My name's Andrew Osborne and I live in Rutland. My daughter Amy was a full of life young girl. As a family we were living what we considered to be a completely normal life, and then we were utterly devastated when Amy failed to wake up one morning. With the help of the charity Cardiac Risk in the Young, our family took a few months to discover that Amy had Brugada syndrome. We decided to start fundraising as a family to screen as many people as we could, discover whether they have the Brugada syndrome, to ensure that they could live a full life, which Amy was so unlucky not to be able to do. Amy's elder sisters had raised a lot of funds, and I wanted a big challenge. I decided that it would be a great idea to sail solo across the Atlantic, and a friend of mine told me that wasn't a big challenge and I ought to row it. The plan for Row for Amy was to set off from the Canaries to Antigua, rowing over 3,000 miles in a 20-foot boat, All my fundraising for Amy's Memorial Fund is channeled through Cardiac Risk in the Young, which is a wonderful charity. I set off from the Canaries on the 8th of January in this year, and I arrived 78 days, 10 hours later. I slept 2 or 3 hours at a time and then rode 2 or 3 hours and just used that rhythm to just keep going as fast and far as I could. Nearing land was amazing, seeing trees, the colour green I hadn't seen for 11 weeks, but there's also part of me not wanting to get off my boat, because Amy and I had been on that boat for a long, long time, and yeah, it was very special. The support I received for the challenge was quite incredible and very humbling. And when I got to Antigua, I realised how many people had been incredibly generous with their donations. The original target was to raise enough money to test 1,000 children, which would have been raising £100,000. And unbelievably, as I sit here now, the current figure is £176,000, which will test way over 2,000 children. And so we were already achieving exactly what I set out to do, which is to stop the tragedy that happened to my family happening to other families.